Click the bell icon to get latest videos from Ekeeda.
Hello friends, welcome to this subject of machine design 1. Now, in last two lectures we have seen what is engineering design, why it is important, what are the necessities. In today's session we are going to cover the engineering materials, which is very important topic, and what are their applications. Of course, there are many number of materials, there are many materials with variations, but as far as this topic is concerned, machine design topic is concerned, we are going to look at only those materials. Now, why the knowledge of engineering material is essential? There are two major aspects. Very first aspect is the proper material or the suitability of the material. Guys, try to understand, for every type of product, to manufacture it differently, there are different ways we manufacture them. For some of them we will go for casting, for some of them we will go for forging, and for some of them we will go for simple lathe operations. In every case you can't use the same material, because materials have different properties, mechanical properties, physical properties, chemical properties, right? So based on this, there are different ways we can manufacture them, and that's why the manufacturability or machinability of the materials is very important. So based on the different application, based on different criterias, we are going to select the material. So material properties is very important aspect. Second important aspect is the availability of the material. If the material itself is not available with me, I have to purchase it from someone else or from some far distance. In that case, it is not cost effective thing for me. So in such case, I must see the availability of the material. So we must consider the selection criteria of the materials. The material, the best material is the one which satisfies certain criteria. We have summarized three of them. The very first is the availability, like I said. Second is suitability or machinability, right? And third one is its properties. Based on these three criteria, we will go for the selection of material. One thing you remember, guys, in the whole course of machine design 1, we are going to look at different different ways of designing a product or different products. In the beginning, we will always go for the selection of material. This selection of material, like I said, is depending upon availability, is depending upon its machinability or its capability, and third one is properties. Of course, in the due course, we are mainly going to look at its properties, because we are not going to produce it, and that's why we are not going to look at its availability. The next thing, like I said, the important topic, which is its properties. Now, every material comes up with some properties, and they are categorized as follow. The first one is its physical property, second one is its mechanical property, and the last one is its chemical property. All these three properties we must consider, we must take them into consideration as far as the machine design is concerned. For example, physical quality. Of course, we are going to look at these different characteristics one by one, but physical quality is the finishing of the material. For example, you can't always use a very dull material for producing some part or some design, a machine design, right? So in that case, your preferred material will be a shining one, the glossy one, right? So that's a kind of physical property. Chemical composition, you can't use just a tin sheet in the seashore area, because it will rust down. So in that case, you have to look for the material which is corrosion, which has no corrosion effect on it. So that's a kind of chemical property. Now, mechanical properties, if I want to take out a thin wire of the material, I have to take out the thin sheet of a material. I must see whether that material has that capacity or not, or whether that material has that particular property or not. If it is there, then only we will be able to use that. So in our next section, we are going to look at some of the physical properties and some of the mechanical properties of material. In the beginning, physical properties of materials. There are only two possibilities. The physical property is mainly like its cluster structure, mainly its weight, mainly its finishing, its color, It's like I said, cluster structure. It's if it is molecular, if it is very fine material, that kind of thing. So it is all about the physical properties. Second thing which is physical properties, it's machinability. Depending upon its physics, if it is a square block, if it is a circular bar, that kind of thing, the machinability is decided. So these are two important physical properties which we are going to look at. In the next slide, we are going to look at some of the mechanical or some of the machine properties of a material. So we are going to look at the mechanical properties of any material. Now, what I mean by mechanical properties, a material which can sustain its external applied loads, which can sustain the external application on the body, all the properties which are associated with this particular capacity is called mechanical property. So let us start with the mechanical properties. Some of them you already have learned, but let us quickly revise. The first one is called its elastic property or elasticity. What is elasticity? When you apply some load on the body or load on the material, of course it will change its shape and size if the load is sufficient. After removal of the load, if it regains its original shape and size, that particular capability is called elasticity. The next capability, of course, is the strength of material. Now when I say strength, it's not just vocabulary word, there is a hidden meaning behind it. Like I said, if there are n number of forces acting on the body, if it can sustain the forces, external forces, it can sustain the resistance given by those forces, that particular capability will be called as strength of material. Strength in general is measured in terms of stress strength. So if I define some stress value for that material, for example, that material can sustain some x amount of strength, that is actually the x amount of stress that is induced in the body of that particular material. The next thing is stiffness. Now again, the ability to resist the deformation, the ability of a material to resist the deformation is nothing but its stiffness. Now stiffness we generally use in terms of springs, where those springs resist the change in their shape. So we are already aware of the spring stiffness constant. So that is nothing but your stiffness of a material. Next mechanical property is nothing but plasticity. Now this is not so desired property of mechanical materials. Plasticity is something which is opposite to elasticity. By the way, let me tell you that metal or mild steel is more elastic than the rubber. You'll be amazed by this. But rubber to some extent, when we elongate it to certain extent, it will not come back to its original size. But mild steel, no matter how many times you hammer it, it will regain its original size and shape. Yes, let's move to plasticity. Plasticity is the property by virtue of which if the size and shape of that object is changed, even to some extent, it will remain like that. So it's associated with the permanent deformation of the body, that is plasticity. Our next property is ductibility or ductileness. Now, if I want to take out the thin wires, very small wires of a body or of a metal, if that metal has that particular property to shrink its size in such a way that small wires will be generated, that's called drawing a wire. So that property is called ductility or ductile nature of the material. Our next quality is actually malleability. Now, like ductility, if the element or if the material has a capability to get converted into thin sheets. When I say thin sheets, I can consider a very thin layer of sheet. If I hammer the material and it can be converted into thin sheet, I will say that that material is carrying the capability that's called malleability. The next is brittleness. Now brittleness is exactly opposite to the strength or elasticity again. In elastic materials, in ductile materials, we know that there is a significant point where the material is going to fail. We are already aware of stress strain curve. So in ductile material, there is clear indication of The elastic point, there is a clear indication of yield point, ultimate point. But in some materials, there is no clear indication. Such materials fail abruptly. They fail without giving any significant sign. So all such materials which don't give any significant sign of its elastic limit are called brittle materials. Generally, brittle materials are very good in absorbing shocks. They are very good in absorbing compression strength, but they are very weak in tensile strength. Our next property is toughness. The tough that many people take it mistakenly that toughness is equal to strength. No, toughness is related with fracture. So when fracture happens in case of any material, it actually tries to absorb the energy. So it is basically the capacity to absorb the energy. It is basically the capacity to resist the fracture. That is nothing but toughness. Our next concept is machinability. See, every product that we design is going to get some production process. In production process, we are going to machine it. We are going to use different machines. Maybe may it be lathe machine, may it be a milling machine, may it be a shaping machine. We are going to use this machine to make machining operation on those materials. Your material should be very much well versed with the machining. They should be capable of getting machined properly. So that particular property is called machinability. If you don't have a material with proper machinability, you can't use that material for any kind of material production process. Our next property is resilience. It is again related to the absorption of energy, but basically it is related with the absorption of shock. A shock loading if the material is sufficiently resilient, it will absorb the shock and it will not damage the other parts of the body. Our next property is creep. When a body or when a material is subjected to cyclic loading, in that case, if it fails, that is said that it is failing under creep. So the creep material, the property of creep of a material, if it is very good, we can say that it will sustain longer cycles of its running. The last property is fatigue. Now this is unusual property. Like again, if there are cyclic loadings for n number of times, your material actually gets into plastic deformation slowly. But once it gets the plastic deformation slowly, it can't recover. And in that case, if your predicted value of its failure is after 10 years, it will fail after 8 years. So this particular failure which happens before its endurance limit comes, it's called fatigue failure. So your material should be very good in terms of, it should be resisting to the failure, fatigue. So in that case, we will prefer the material which will resist the fatigue failure. And the last property as far as our syllabus is concerned is called hardness. Now hardness has nothing to do with strength, hardness has nothing to do with toughness. Hardness is a different property by virtue of which a material will resist the scratch made on it. If there is a material with proper hardness, if you try to make a scratch on it, it will resist, there will be no scratch. So in that case, we'll say that the material is very hard. There are basically 2 to 3 methods to decide or define the hardness of a material. The first one, the famous one, is Rockwell hardness test, and then it's Brinell hardness test. Of course, we have performed this test in the subject of strength of materials, and we have found out the hardness of different materials. So these are the important properties that we are looking for the engineering materials, which we are going to use for different product development or product production. Now in this slide, we are going to look at the classification of engineering materials. Like guys, I said, there are n number of materials discovered till today. As far as your syllabus is concerned, we are going to consider only few materials of them. So general classification as far as your subject is concerned is shown in the figure. So all the engineering materials are basically divided into two parts. The first part is metals and another part is non-metals. Non-metals are very simple. That can be a glass, that can be a rubber, right? And all other resins and enzymes that we use for producing of non-metals, these are the example. But when you go for metals, there are basically two categories. There are ferrous materials or ferrous metals and non-ferrous metals. When I say ferrous metals, they come with ferrous as the base or as the fundamental material in it. So basically in our case, we are going to consider three ferrous materials. The very first is wrought iron. Now guys, when I combine carbon with iron, that is ferrous, that gives me this different materials. So what I can vary is the carbon content. Let's try to remember. As the carbon content goes on increasing, the brittleness of the material will increase. The hardness of the material will, the toughness of the material will increase. So it can consume, it can resist the shock loading. But as we lower down the carbon content, we will get a good strength of material. For example, wrought iron. Its carbon percentage is hardly 0.05% of the whole volume. Whereas if I switch to the higher value of carbon content, which is from 0.05 to 1.5% of carbon, it will become steel. Different grades of steel we will get. We know that important property of steel is it's very shiny thing. If I increase the carbon content beyond that, it will become cast iron. Of course, there are different grades of cast iron again, so that depends upon the carbon percentage. But if it is beyond 1.5%, it becomes cast iron. So these were ferrous materials. Now let us look at non-ferrous materials. Non-ferrous materials are generally alloys. Alloys where your main ingredient will be either aluminium, copper, etc., etc. Even silicon you can consider for that matter. So all these materials we are going to consider in our numerical, we are going to consider in our calculation part. Like we have said, steel and ferrous materials are going to be the important, they are going to play the important role in this particular subject. Let's look at their different grades. So we are going to look at two grades of ferrous materials. One is steel and another is cast iron. Now steel comes up when your carbon percentage lies between 0.05% to 1.5% in the ferrous, along with the ferrous. So what is the role of carbon? Carbon gives us the strength. Carbon gives it the shining ability, and that makes this steel a very useful material for designing different aspects. When I go for a different carbon percentage, they are also called carbon steels. These carbon steels come with different properties, especially different strengths. That is, their ultimate strengths and their yield strengths are different. For different purposes, we can use them. You can see variation in carbon steels, like some of them are called dead steels, some of them are called stainless steel. That depends upon the carbon percentage, and of course their applications vary. We are going to look at these particular aspects while will be solving the numericals. So let me conclude this topic. We generally looked at the selection criteria of the materials. The basic criteria are their properties, availability, their cost, etc., etc. Then we looked at the important mechanical properties, the definitions, and then we looked at the classification of different mechanical materials. Basically, there are metals, non-metals, then ferrous and non-ferrous materials. We also learned that variation in carbon percentage in ferrous materials will impart different properties, and that will give us different categories or different variations or variants of the steel. In next lecture, we will be dealing with some procedures of machine design and some manufacturing aspects which we need to consider. Thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, please subscribe to Ekeeda. Thank you. See you.